Select board meeting at 5:03. It's not here.
And we'll open the finance committee meeting at 5:03.
All right, I will call in Haskins present. So we just present. So that was in the present. All right, first up, and pledge of allegiance. First item on our agenda tonight is virtual regional planning commission. I'm getting an update.
Yeah, so I'm going to introduce these two fine people. First is Valerie Ware.
Who do we?
And tell me about the council girl. Jizzle. Jizzle, yeah. Jizzle, right? Yep, yeah.
Sure, thank you.
I met with both of them last week with our lines. So I asked them to come to the meeting and sort of explain what they're going to do for the town, what they're going to do, what they don't do, and stuff like that.
So basically we're calling their inspection services. Herb has Title V's, food, Jizzle does food, mostly he does fill in other areas. We do some housing issues if we have housing issues, take on one or two at a time, not them all at once, until we get compliance. Anything else you could think of?
Yeah, I mean, we can cover a lot of different things. It kind of depends on what the town has. If you have recreational camps, pools, I don't think there's a lot of that going on. But yeah, we're mainly just supposed to be the eyes and ears. We can go out in the road and report on things, and we're not the decision makers per se. We report to the board and the board. But yeah, we go out into the community and figure things out.
So recently, we've got a couple of things where a few guys have mentioned, like someone that's staying in a camper. Is that something you guys would address?
It could be, yeah, it definitely could be. I mean, it depends what the town has on file for ordinances and various things about campers, but anything that's, on file with the town, we can definitely go enforce and report on. And, yeah.
And with junk vehicles is another kind of hot topic too, is, trying to some platforms that are, have compliance on that aspect of it, and not meeting our bylaws.
Yep.
So process-wise, how else would the new ordinance or update or it's going to classify it? Will we be kind of issuing necessarily, I don't say targets, but some properties of interest for you guys to visit, inspect?
Typically, that's how it goes.
So how does the process kind of play out from there? So you guys do your inspection, issue.
Okay, so what we would do is you would give us a property, 5 Main Street or whatever. We do a drive-by to make sure there's issues there that we can see on the outside. We'll send them a letter of inspection. They're required to allow us to come in, and if they don't allow us to come in, then we would go to housing court and get an order to go in. But most people, we report for compliance. We're not looking at getting anybody doing something wrong. We want to help them be compliant with whatever the issues are. So we would schedule the inspection, hopefully we'll go in, write up a report, give them a timeline, order to correct, and send that to them regular and certified mail, and go back for the inspection, and hopefully they'll be compliant.
Do you typically see compliance after basically first attempts, or is this more of a case by case where you have to escalate and kind of get to that?
It really depends on the people,
And also because we don't live in town, they don't know who we are. So they're most likely going to comply. Not for sure, but.
Okay. Now, if you run into a situation where you have to deal with a hostile resident, is your default to, we no longer, have a police force here in town, do you default back to the state police if you need to, have assistance or require assistance for inspection or compliance?
That would likely be what would happen.
Okay. Yeah, it's just, I think the services you guys offer, obviously what we, the town needs, and I think that's kind of where I think we can be most effective. Just don't want to put you guys in a situation where it becomes confrontational to an extent, which I do guys would obviously probably use.
That would come to territory.
yeah, just, you know, I think as long as there's collaboration, you know, between you guys, the town, you know, if you're running issues and, you know, on the enforcement side, I think just best thing you do is reach out to us, reach out to the town administrator and make sure we just are all on the same page
Sure.
moving forward, so.
Yeah, and then we don't, you know, we don't tend to go in guns blazing or go in, you know, I mean, we, like, as she said, we do a drive-by, we walk around, we check it out, you know, it's not the kind of thing where we go up and bang on the door first things first, you know, we try to get a sense of the situation, assess it, get the right things in place, and proceed with caution, you know?
Okay. Have we issued any sort of directive at this point? You know, just wait for July 1st. No, it's fine. Yeah, I think we kind of know. I think some areas of concern you need to be addressed. I personally like to see those issues addressed sooner rather than later. And since now that you guys have kind of got a lay of the land, I would like to see us kind of hit the ground running, try to bring us into compliance as soon as possible, and you know, move forward from there.
Yeah, and there's a difference between, you know, occupied situations versus just abandoned houses. Those are obviously sometimes a lot easier to deal with. It's just a matter of tracking down deeds and, you know, what. But situations with occupants can be very variable. So we try to be careful to not take on too many of those at once.
Okay.
But again, you know, abandoned vehicles, unoccupied properties, those are a little bit more cut and dry.
Okay. No, that's all I got.
You know, I definitely have some residents that have reached out, you know, previously, recently in the last month about some concerned properties, so I'll work with Ryan to, you know, get that information over to you guys.
Sure.
And one other question I had was, for someone who comes to, like, the septic system inspections and wells, like, is there a certain time frame of, you know, when someone calls, that response time, I should say, like, is it 48 hours, 72-hour window before, like, inspections, or how does that process work?
Right now, you're not on, well, we have an online system, and you got the email regarding that, so we'll be working on getting you online. So when they pull a permit, we know there's a permit out, we know they're starting work, and when I'm in town, I'm gonna do a drive-by and I'm gonna check it out to see where they're at. Typically, we can respond within one or 2 days if they need an inspection, you know, on the septic system that they're building. Title V inspections, they usually call a few days ahead of time because they're gonna need to get information from the town hall regarding that property, if it's been pumped, if there was a previous Title V, if there's an as-built drawing for the septic system.
Also, they asked for a desk. Yeah, so like upstairs where the old accountant was, I think they could maybe use that desk and a computer.
Yeah.
That way they can get all their stuff, and we just have to issue a key to them to get in. That's it.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Absolutely. Now, how often do you plan on being in town? Is that as a on-call basis, or
I would say once a week to start. I did discuss that with my superiors, that we should be here once a week to at least touch base, find out if there's any issues going on, maybe do some filing of whatever your septic stuff is, take a look, do a drive around, see what's in town. And then after we're established, maybe 6 months, we'll go every other week. But we will still be here. And then if we're here, like I say, if I'm here on a Wednesday and I have Title V on Thursday, that doesn't count against your time.
okay?
And we'll have, you know, office time and then time to do field work.
So are we allotted a certain amount of time, like, you know, for our contract?
I believe, what does your contract say? Probably 6 hours a month. That's like an hour and a half.
Yeah, so.
But in the beginning, we'll be here a little bit more often.
Kind of averages it out throughout the year.
Paying yearly, are we gonna have surcharge or additional charge?
Ask that question.
No,
So on top of the yearly cost, are there gonna be any surcharges or additional charges per inspection or anything like that? Any
no,
charges?
not for inspections, and the fee that the person pays goes back to the town.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only thing that you probably saw in the email I sent you is, like, this year, your online onboarding system is paid for, and the first year fees are paid for. Next year, there'll be a fee.
Do you know what that is or how?
I got it, I'll forward it to you guys. I just, so we'll forward it on to you guys, see how.
It's not a huge amount.
Yeah,
I think I need to streamline the process, I just,
Yep.
covers everybody across the board.
That's what
It also includes,
Copy of like.
online payment. So if somebody wants to schedule a Title V, they'll pay for it in advance, so that you'll get that.
Yeah.
Right, so we're not chasing checks and waiting for things like that.
Good to know. No, that's good.
Well, that's specific issues, I got that issue with 24/7 at generators running, I think I told you guys about that.
Yeah,
You know, that's something that you take care of, because it's becoming a problem
Yeah.
out there. And that individual is also taking garbage in up there. People are paying him to serve garbage up there.
Right.
Yeah, so
and is that in lieu of going to the transfer station?
I don't know if it's going to the transfer station. I think it's going running empty trailers, to be honest with you. So those are the
That's not
things
what I want to
I want to crack down on it right away. Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's not fair. It's not fair. And I said this is a town meeting, I'll say it again. It's not fair to the people who take care of the properties. It's not fair. So
It's very true.
once we're out there and about, hopefully they'll clean it up a little bit.
And I'm sure you will, because you always do. You just get us on any email they send.
Oh, yeah. We copy and everything, so you know, what they're going, doing, and whatever.
I know you will, thank you.
Yeah, and it'll take a minute, but once it gets to be a consistency of us being around, people getting to know that there's actually some action going on, that usually tends to shift the mentality a little bit once,
They said, hit the ground running, take it and go.
No, that's excellent.
Here's my email address, my phone number.
Perfect.
So that should be on your website as well.
Yeah.
We can put my cell phone number on your website as well.
Yeah. Perfect. I think we have, did you do that, Michelle? We have that on?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'm good.
Some of the other
That's
things.
great. I appreciate it, sir.
We have one.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Thank you. Congratulations. Good.
Perfect.
I'll reach out to,
Okay,
compare with the board, but I'll reach out, there's a couple spots to start out on.
okay, sounds good.
Does the town still have a board of health?
Yes.
Yes.
Didn't the board of health take care of septic inspections or anything like that?
Yes, they did do that. I think Dan Brown and Mike Rivers, I believe, were the two that were handling most of that. But on the other side of it, with the junk, so the junk vehicles and some of the other.
We're duplicating services already.
I believe they'll be taking on that responsibility from them.
Trying to streamline the process a little.
Actually, we have to broaden, because one can only do so much, because I've been around a year and a half, I've never seen it. Yeah. What it's gonna do, it's gonna make us more effective. I just said,
Yeah.
two people are doing the same
Yeah,
job.
they're gonna probably make it over here, yeah.
Yeah, it's not because, it's more as a volunteer position, with Norm and, like we're doing, and so didn't quite have the time put into, what we need in the town, so.
Without them, it would be the health inspector.
When installing a septic system, are there whole points? I'll give you an example of where I used to work. We manufactured pressure vessels. We had an outside inspector who could come in and inspect it, but they had whole points during the process of making these vessels. Is that something that happens with septic systems?
I'm not sure.
I'm sure you mean that, yeah.
Well, if they start building the septic system, there must be some kind of base they put down, some kind of soil or whatever.
Yeah, it depends how the house
And
is.
then there's gotta be another staff, and they inspect each step.
You mean like that, points at which you.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
So typically I go out and I inspect at least twice, sometimes 3 times. So if I know somebody's doing the septic system in an area, I'm gonna go by, if I'm in town, I'm gonna go and stop and see where they're at with that.
Thank you.
And then before a certificate of compliance is issued, they're required to submit, the contractor's required to submit an as-built drawing with measurements to the different components, and the engineer is also required to sign off.
Thank you.
Okay, good.
Excellent.
Should help.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And getting to know the town?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is the Finance Committee review and or approve the release of $5,000 from the Finance Committee Reserve Account for school renovations.
Paul, speak to that.
Yes, it has come to my attention that in order for reserve funds to be used, it has to be either an emergency or an unforeseen circumstance. And the issues on the flooring have been ongoing for more than a year, and there are it was brought up in at least 2 meetings where the meeting minutes show that the same complaints were being made about this. So,
It's not considered an emergency.
it's not considered
Which
an
one?
emergency or unforeseen.
Do you have the first date of that minute meeting?
Yeah, just so you know, the exact language on this is Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 6. Reserve funds are to provide for extraordinary or unforeseen expenditure. So that really isn't an unforeseen expenditure. So what will happen is this, at town meeting, you want to go ahead?
The fact that some of these floors got ruined because of the roof leak, it doesn't have to be the floors that were mentioned previously in those minute meetings. There's other floors that have been where the water has come in from that roof leak, which was an unforeseen circumstance.
Okay.
And it was not over a year old.
Okay, so what I was saying is this, at town meeting, we voted to, any money left over from this roof project would go into a school, accounts. So I would be safe to say that I'd rather use money allocated for the school fund for the floors instead of taking money from the finance committee.
That's fine, yeah. I think we'll just,
Yeah,
we're gonna know in a matter of probably 3-4 weeks tops.
So maybe we still, I know John Green's only sent me an email this morning, wants me to meet him there tomorrow to go over some things, but, if there's a little bit of a delay, maybe we still can get it done before school starts. Because the anticipation of that roof project should be done in the middle of August or so, so.
The only downside though, right, is it's gonna get bid out, so.
Yeah, it does, unless they, according to them, they might have somebody donate their time to put it in, but.
I think it's gonna be under
Again, rules.
That'll be another one. For public bid load.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll adjust as it comes.
Yeah, is the roof started yet?
No, not yet.
Well, it's okay, if they have to pay some money a little bit later.
I believe the tentative start date, I believe it's Monday, July 28th. It's right after the summer camp ends. Summer camp ends Friday, and the roofers are planning on starting on Monday.
And it's supposed to be 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks.
Hopefully, 2 to 3 max. It's, it's all set before school.
And once it's done, of course.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of roofs we had done at once, and they're 30,000 square feet.
That's it really shouldn't take long, it should 3 weeks.
It shouldn't take that long. Depends on the rest, there's a lot of things underneath it, and that is improved. Yeah, so, you gotta have.
They know they're up against the clock though.
Yeah.
And they're good.
Their consensus, we're not going to go anything with that 5,000.
Yeah, I guess, we can't because it's.
Now, that's going to go into free cash, yes.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll have that, $5,000 will go into free cash, which will be available from various.
It should be 26, right? Another 5,000, this was 27, so we'll add.
Alright, so I guess we'll move on from that.
Yeah.
Next up is a review and approve moving $20,000 from the police officer salaries account to cover deficits in the town administration finance department salary accounts.
Okay, I have a letter that I think, are you in possession of it at the moment?
This one?
Yes. Okay,
Want to do it?
yes. Says, please consider this letter a request to allow the town accountant to transfer the dollar amounts necessary to cover FY25 deficits in the town accountant, treasurer and tax collector, administrative assistant, and assessor clerk salary and wages from the FY 25 unused police officer salaries and wages. The reason there's gonna be a deficit in the others is because we still have one more day of, FY 25 that has to be posted, and it's kind of,
Monday, the 30th.
yeah, and also, for some reason, some of the accounts were slightly under budgeted for FY 26, and we know that with the town accountant's salary, it's because there were 2 accountants working, so that one is, and there was not money budgeted in FY 25 for that purpose.
Yes, I think initially the intent was not to keep that on for basically the entirety of 25. Is there
I
any,
mean, there was not even enough to cover, there was like only enough to cover one accountant salary at what?
well, that was the intention, when the budget was first drafted.
We didn't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but we didn't assume we'd have 2 accounts for the entirety of the fiscal year, so.
so, and then also I have, when I was doing the research on how we could, where we could pull the money from, I know in past years, the accountants have moved money, like transferred funds from one department to another within the town to cover non-salary expenses in other departments' non-salary expenses. I don't know if they had gotten permission ahead of time, but you're supposed to get permission if you have to move it from department to department.
So is it a budgeting issue while we're not hitting these targets or no? Are we under budgeting? Well, under budgeting.
Yeah.
It seems like sometimes some things are under budgeted, some are over budgeted. If it's within the same department, like if there are several different types of expense accounts within one department, I can move that money around without having to ask permission from you if it's needed to, like, say, one line item was over budgeted, another one was under, I can take that money and transfer it so that it evens it out.
Yeah, I could see, and I don't oppose obviously moving the money. I could see if this was like, we had, like on our DPW side, we had a, crazy winter where there was, a ton of extra hours plowing, things like, but this is basically standard work hours though, correct?
This one is not, this part is for,
The salaries,
not for salaries. The top part is asking for permission to do the salaries because you can't move funds from salaries to other expenses or other expenses to cover salaries. You have to keep those 2 items completely separate. So that's why we're transferring salaries to cover salaries, and now I'm just asking.
no, that's what I'm saying, right? So that's, the salaries were set though, we knew what those numbers were gonna be.
You would think that that's how it should have come out. I was not part of the budgeting process for that year. I don't know if things didn't get submitted.
Yeah, I think, so after this year's fiasco with the I just think going into next year, we just need to, I think, all
We're gonna start,
collectively start way earlier. And,
yeah, like
take a
in
look.
January.
Yeah, because this is like kind of after the fact now, like, well, yeah, we kind of missed some targets on this.
And like I said, in past years, the moving non-salary expenses from department to department just got done.
Yeah, just routing from Peter to pay Paul.
Right. But we're supposed to have, the accountant is supposed to have select board and finance committee permission.
So you said it's okay to do as long as everybody knows about it.
Yes. So I'm saying I want the official signatures, so that we're doing everything. Correctly.
Abstain from this one.
Okay.
Probably.
Question, do you have, amount of, a rough estimate of those amounts that you'll be moving and what was under budgeted, over budgeted?
I don't have the amounts yet for the.
Because we're not set one day, correct?
for the salary, even the last, payroll took more money out of, than had been budgeted for the treasurer and tax collector. I don't know if more money,
So I'm under budgeted, you're saying? Should I pay more?
right, no, we're paying you what we're supposed to pay you.
We just didn't ask for the right amount of money.
Right, yeah, so.
Understand.
I know the assessor was over budgeted. Yes, but even that is like almost, it wasn't over budgeted as much as we thought. So,
Right.
so I don't know where the process was, but I tried to be, careful in following both the DOR rules and standards on how to set the salary budgets and making sure they included raises, step increases when they're supposed to come.
Since the calculations are off then.
Yeah, I think the calculations were a little bit off in FY 25.
So I do
So pretty much
expect
we're
to
gonna be
use the entire.
using, I expect to be using like the entire 23, probably the entire 23,000. Anything that gets moved and doesn't get used rolls into free cash. So,
Yeah, so we weren't talking like kind of minuscule money too. Less than a $23.
Is there a report that you could send once you have those numbers?
Yeah.
yes, I can do that.
All right, we're gonna make a motion.
One more thing, we made a motion, just one more thing, input in reference to the budget. We still have 2 accountants on the budget.
Yeah, it needs to be addressed.
With just a single, with the budget
Yeah,
only
so,
allotted for a single account.
Just something we have to act on tonight, I could bring it to the next meeting, but we need to act on that too.
I
If
agree.
we want to keep down around on a per diem basis or whatever the board wants to do, but we need to figure that out, because technically, I never really budgeted salary for Donna this coming year. So we have some good anticipation just around at one account, okay? So that's
You
just.
know, like we said, we had a budget for last year, but we carried it all year.
Yeah, right.
So. Good?
Yep.
You're abstaining. I'll make a motion to approve moving the 20,000 from the police officer salaries account to cover deficits in the town admin finance department salary accounts.
So moved.
No need in a second.
I'm sorry. Second.
Yeah, do you want, yeah, chair, yeah, chair. All in favor?
So it's just like 2 hours.
Yes.
Well, it's
And I'll leave some from that.
that's why I swear it's not specific.
Yeah, I think it is, you know, that outside.
I'm gonna try something.
If we, can we change the wording instead of the 20, because the 20 was based on not knowing that there was going to be, so just use the wording of transfer the dollar amounts necessary from,
I don't like writing a blank check like that.
but it's not,
3,000 in your.
is available in that account, and it's probably gonna need.
So all available funds have a police officer's salary account?
Yes, but anything that isn't needed to cover the deficits, I mean, nobody's getting paid anything
No,
that
I'm
they're
not,
not
I'm not,
supposed to
I'm
be.
not saying that.
But
If I can object on that, she ought to, whatever she has to do, she should bring in separate orders for the transfers, so you know the exact dollar amounts for each.
But the thing is that the approval has to be done prior to 7/15, because it's for the prior year.
I think we still have to have, I don't also want to interject, but I am 99% sure that a select board has to approve an exact number.
Yes.
He cannot say any available funds.
No, yeah, so this is the problem. He has to abstain. I'm out of town next week and you can't have one vote. So,
She can have those numbers, or should have those numbers by 7/15. I'll ask our next paycheck, is this?
no, what I'm saying, the problem is for us to hold another, we have to do a special meeting to approve this by next Tuesday. And once again, I'm gonna be out of town. He has to abstain and that leaves Seth with one vote.
Would you have,
He can't take a vote.
would you have this wrapped up by Thursday of this week if we did?
And you have to-
Would be available?
Because they have everybody's numbers.
We don't have to. It has to be done by the end of this week. So
And it could be just a quick 5-minute meeting
that's
to
fine with me.
approve. I agree, we can let people know what
Yeah.
the numbers are gonna be per salary line, I guess, also, you know, not just a total lump sum.
Yes.
Now, what is the differences of going to free cash?
Which is fine. I don't oppose that. I agree with
You
you.
gotta keep each, you have to act on each one, the right way to do it, so.
Like I said, approving this to, and I don't like doing it, is basically you're just kind of blank check of like, well, here, cover whatever the losses are and whatever it is at the end.
So again, a special meeting, that's something you can't do it anyway. You have to do line.
Which is fine. So we'll have a special meeting, ask for them by Thursday. So,
Okay.
it's not Monday.
Thursday, 5 p.m.
Sure.
Are you guys, because they have to approve it also, the finance committee have to vote on it also.
Yeah.
So are you guys, there's that
No, they
5?
don't have to, I don't think they have, to. Just, there's, she'll bring out the separate orders, but the one you guys just act on. And then that's part of the record. Because you're okay with it, you're okay with the transfer, correct? Yeah.
I start off, they have to officially vote on it.
Yeah, this is basically something that's been done in the past without having gotten
Just
the
because,
official permission.
well, I will say this, just because it's been done in the past in the previous administration, doesn't mean it's right.
That's why I'm asking, that's why I brought your letter to ask permission to do it.
That's fine. Let's just have a meeting on Thursday, we'll have the numbers by then. So,
Alright, Thursday, 5, that's that.
make a motion to table.
Yeah.
So make a motion to table.
Don't forget to post it.
Yeah.
And we don't, she's over there.
All in favor?
We don't,
Abstain. Alright.
so we have to,
Guys, we do have a review of the town's finance policy here on the agenda, it's kind of part of that.
They might be able to check. You guys have nothing else, right?
Is that why finance committee doing that?
no, that's part of the management, right, Kelly? Is that part of the management letter from?
No, that's the financial policy, but I didn't think I saw that on the agenda.
Yeah.
Let's kind of roll into this. We're gonna have
We
to-
can postpone to that Thursday meeting, we have to.
Oh, I see at the bottom, yeah, I was coming together, so I didn't actually see that.
Okay, all right, that's all right. You can just-
I'm just waiting on numbers for Paula to enter those, and then I'm sending it out through email for, 6 of you to review.
Set to the July meeting.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Motion adjourned at 5:35. Second.
Sure.
Okay. Well,
Yep. You guys,
yeah,
thank you.
see everybody Friday. Yeah. Oh, Thursday. That's Thursday, we're not gonna be with her Friday. Music. Oh, yeah. Can we keep you open to 3? That's it.
Oh, can we,
We can make
can you
it.
sign? I'll sign on one side, the 3 lines on one side if not one, because that can be used with the spelled out.
Should just wait till the one's completed.
I know we should wait for problems.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you gotta, move everybody, both boards to approve, so.
I'd like to see her.
So what's up, yeah, join again for Thursday.
Thank you. Can you get that over to you? Yeah. Okay. All right, thank you.
Alright. Next up, we have reviewed and approved the first down payment for the school roof project. What do you have, Marcia?
I have, we have the exact, I had, can I just grab the contract with you, see the exact number? Like that? Yeah.
I just grabbed that, we can just move on to the next one, because it's a simple one. Review and approve a cemetery lot sales, section D, lot 84, 2 graves to Carl Gaget.
Make a motion to approve.
So, second. All in favor? I'll sign this.
Is there a contract I'll sign? Just need to hand deliver the first. Silver check.
September 7th there.
And we need your approval before I can cut the check.
Yeah.
All right.
think it was in the front.
It's usually 10%, isn't it, right? First page, or no?
No, no. Oh, yes. We just round it up, no.
Yeah.
No. No, I think we. Yeah, I gotta find it. It should be right here on the front.
It's all just monopoly money anyways.
Oh, here it is. Let's see, it's coming. 99. Oh, it is $119,700.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
There you go.
Do you need your signatures on anything for that round, or?
No, that's
Perfect.
Good.
Paul, did you just do the first payment?
Yeah.
So it's
I'm gonna do
$100.
it, I'm gonna do it tomorrow with the signed contract.
All right, perfect.
Okay?
Sounds good.
Can we get rid of the contract?
And we was reaching out to Tom Bonner to put
Can I
it.
just say the first one signed?
Yeah, he's gonna need the first one cut and signed.
Oh, for their signature. The select board signature, I was saying. Just that one check, just that one approval.
For the first down payment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I think in the contract says monthly payment, so I would just ask, and you only need it for the first initial payment.
Well, they're gonna show up in warrants. The others will be
Yeah, sure,
showing
that's
up
what I was
in
asking.
warrants, so,
Yeah.
yes.
So just the first initial payment, and
Yeah.
to be authorized. the down payment.
Okay.
Next item up is the police cruiser update. Pretty much where we're at, Ryan and I were discussing this earlier. We're gonna strip off the police graphics off of it, put town of Clarksburg seal on the side door of it. And, we're gonna get that garage door. Fixed over there.
He's coming tomorrow. Don't you think you can fix the existing one, if you can't, just replace it?
Yeah, just a garage door opener works, it's easy to access, for whoever needs to get to it.
No, you're right.
Yeah, we can't uncover the garage door itself, the openers bad. So you can't expect somebody busting on that door at night. And then we also want to put road leak inside, right, the box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just figure out, easier for everyone to access, who needs to the town, so.
Always one better.
So that vehicle will be used for animal control, assessor department, they need to go and use the vehicles. So.
No, emergency management also.
Yeah,
So, fine with that. All good.
Alrighty, next up, we're on to the interview candidates for the assessor's position.
I think we only have one, right?
so you gotta find that.
Ready to jump in the hot seat, Michelle?
I gotta record this, I gotta do the minutes.
Yeah, I can't do my own minutes.
You can't do the minutes for one interview.
Tim, can we hold that person on for like 10 minutes or?
I'll let you answer, so let's do you for, well, it's gonna be on, we can always read, listen to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it's good, okay.
So you could, Michelle, why don't you come over here? Sit up, get up, right in the hot seat, you're wrong.
I am all wrapped up today.
Oh my God, make it fine. All right, well, Michelle, thank you for applying for the position. So far you've been doing the clerk, assessor's clerk position for how many years now?
3 years.
3 years?
Yep. Mhm.
Okay, doing a fine job.
I actually feel like this, well, since Emily started, is when I actually was properly trained. Prior to that, I didn't really have any properly training with no real assessor. So I've definitely learned a lot, and I know I have a lot more to learn. I discovered that doing the assessing 101 modules, I got held up on the levy limit and a couple things where I definitely need some more instruction and to study more.
So what made you interested in wanting to apply for the assessor's position?
Right now, I'm currently the administrative assistant as well as assessor's clerk So the assessor's clerk is technically 5 hours a week for me, which does not happen because I'm everyone else's helper in doing things. I thought maybe if I could focus my time and energy on one position right now, that would be helpful to me as well, because I clean on Fridays because my position is 32 hours a week. But if I was able to make more, I wouldn't have to do that on Fridays. I found it very interesting, especially when we went out with the cyclical inspections. I think it's something I could definitely handle. But like I said, I would need Emily's guidance and more training.
Okay. So I know, Emily, you're, I think, slated to depart us relatively soon, correct?
Probably figure out the end of the calendar year.
Okay. Which I think will obviously be beneficial for us.
Yeah, be very helpful.
My question for you, Michelle, is, Emily can probably attest this if she wants to kind of jump in on this.
Mhm.
This is a very difficult public job. I guess it's can be confrontational and probably disgruntled at times with certain residents like across the board. It's not as though you're coming sometime necessarily with good news. Not too often, I think, do you do an assessment on a home where the value goes down and would actually cause a drop in most people's taxes. Most of the time, it's a pretty considerable increase. Do you foresee being issues of being assertive and direct? I think I'm trying to probably put this as professional as I can with possible confrontational town residents.
I've had a lot of confrontational experiences in my past work history. My resume doesn't go all the way back. I started working when I was 17. So I've dealt with everything from Alzheimer patients to judicated youth, which there was a lot of confrontation there when I was working there as a staff member.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel that I can be assertive if I need to. Right now, you see me, I'm the first person people see when they come in town hall.
Correct.
So obviously, I want to give good customer service, because that's the face they're gonna see. I think in one way that might be helpful for me if I enter this position, because people are used to seeing me here. They're not gonna be like, oh my gosh, I don't know that person at all, or. And I already have established relationships with several of these residents throughout the past 3 years, which I thought may be helpful.
Do you foresee obviously we increase the hours and increase the allocation for the assessor's position? Do you foresee it being an issue with your, please don't take it wrong, lack of experience really on the assessor's front of being able to, I think, kind of effectively continue, I think, the good pace that Emily set with the limited hours that she's been here. I think I can give Emily credit for a lot of things, but I think her time management skills, I think, have been pretty efficient. To really squeeze a lot into a very short amount of time. I think we would hope to continue and probably expand on that and really, I think, try to, make sure that, it's done in a timely manner, to an extent. Do you foresee any issues?
No.
Time management between learning a new position to, really being able to effectively kind of keep pace of, what Emily's kind of set as the standard, I think, moving forward.
I know. I think if I can focus just my energy on that, I don't think that would be an issue at all. One thing I did mention prior, not personally yet to you, Colton, or you, Seth, but is that I do have an opportunity to take my mom's position in a year or so. But if I don't try this, I'm not going to know. If it may be something that I really like and enjoy, I won't know until I try it. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I just jumped in. I just feel like
My biggest fear was having, Emily put the energy in to train for that position and the town paying for schooling training for a position and to, unless we have a timeline, that might expire, relatively might expire for the position, that'd be one of my biggest fears, going down that road with
I
it.
can say I've done all the modules, I'm almost finished because I got held up on that one. But I didn't charge any of my time for that. I did it all on my own personal time. I can say that.
Did you have any certifications for assessing right now, being the
Like
assessor?
very shortly, I'll have the certification.
Like for an assessor?
The 101, I don't know if anything
The
else.
only one that's really, it depends on the town or city. Most smaller towns, the only thing they require is the course 101 through Gateway, which is what she's almost done with.
Gotcha.
If she were to decide she wanted to further and have a designation, which I don't believe is required in Clarksburg, that would be up to you as whether or not you chose to pay the next person to continue the classes and the courses to get their designation to be a certified assessor in the state of Massachusetts.
Thank you for the explanation on that.
Seth, you can go.
You guys are answering all the questions for me. I think, I just think that knowing the townspeople is probably definitely gonna work in your favor. I am interested to see if you can hold off people a little bit, but I don't think there'll be much of that, so I'm not concerned.
Ron, you know?
Yeah, so I always try to have communication and talk to everybody here. And I'm an individual, I believe in promoting from within. That's a reward for, not perfect, everybody has room for improvement, that's what I said, everybody does. I think being the clerk to the assessor's position, I'm talking heavily about this too. And I see how she handles people coming in here. She's very cordial, which is important because a lot of times I sit in my office and see some people come in here, they're all fired up. They find a way to get people to calm down. But I believe that she has the ability to do it. I believe that she has to use her resources if Emily's willing to stay around, because I think it's important. We should know everything. In a lot of the honest with you, a lot of the applications that came through here, nobody had zip experience, So I look at it as, and it's totally up to the board, but I look at it as we give somebody an opportunity. As long as she uses her resources, I go back to the job that I had. When I came in here, I told her this today. I said, a couple of times, I went home, I said, what the hell am I doing? But you figure it out. You figure it out. You use your resources. You become more organized. You got to become organized. You got to have a vision what you need to be done. And again, it's assessing job. You got a couple of crucial times during the year, correct? Right. And the rest of the time, if you have to, how many hours do you work now? 10, 12 a week?
How many she charges?
Okay, well, think about this. By doing it, you started out at one point in time, correct? You had like 6 hours. But I think if you got someone that can actually put 32 hours into this job, correct? And of course, you're going to need help, and you have a support staff that can do it. Again, there's a couple of crazy times during the year, but the rest of the time, you really can concentrate on being more efficient with the job and doing field visits and doing the things you need to do to increase revenues for the town. That's what I look at.
No, I agree, right. I think the easiest transition to keep, continuity within the confines of this building, it does make sense. Albeit it's fairly limited, experience, it's still experience. My ask to you, Michelle, I think would just be work as closely and extensively with Emily as possible. Ask the questions. Be open and honest with us. If it gets to a point where you just see this is too overwhelming, I just really don't think this is, long term what I really want to do, then we'll adjust it at that time. I would hate to just see, kind of time investment on all fronts. And then say 6 months down the road, you just say, this just isn't for me. I'm underwater. I can't handle it. This just isn't a good fit. I think, same conversations we've had, some other employees here, I think just keep communication open. Don't let it become a problem and let it get too big that it's like you can't get your arms around it and it's just too overwhelming. And then the problem is we've got to scramble. And, I think Dan can, attest this past, years we've had to make some pretty drastic decisions, I think, across the board for the town. We've really kind of changed the direction and kind of look to the future and how we're going to operate efficiently, I think, in the town of Clarksburg. So I don't think we want to constantly be having to make those drastic decisions on the direction. So I just think, like I said, keep the lines of communication open. If you feel comfortable that you really think, in your heart of hearts, you can do this, you want to do this, your heart's into it, I'd be fine. Obviously, it's on a trial basis. So it's not like we're signing into a 3-year agreement where it's, we got to, find our way out. If it's, in, say, 3 months, and we'll go back together and we're just not comfortable, then, we'll reassess it at that point. It's kind of where I'm at.
That's fair.
I think I'd just rather be honest with you. I'd rather just keep the lines open.
Emily, do you have any questions for Michelle as part of the interview process?
No, I kind of just agree with everything Colton said, is if you are thinking about other future things, I think you need to take a really long, hard look at what you want for yourself for the future. And, if so far what you've seen with assessing and all those numbers and formulas, those are every year, all the time. You have Excel spreadsheets, everything is math, you're always building a formula. You gotta really think about if that's whether or not you really want to do that, and if that's something you really want for the future. So we don't, like Colton says, we don't want to say wasting time, because knowledge is never wasting time, but we don't want to invest
Correct.
if there's nothing there. So.
And Emily, I think just kind of hit the nail on the head. I think, from everything we've learned through this budget season, numbers are key. And you are hitting a moving target that is constantly changing. And you get into those formulas and those numbers have to be absolutely perfect. Because if not, we run into situations where, we're trying to rectify issues where they shouldn't necessarily be. So I think if you're confident, and like Ron said, I'm not opposed to it. I think, rather give you the opportunity to fail than not give you the opportunity at all and let you kind of take the ball and run with it. It's, we could look back in 6 months and say it was the best decision we ever made. She's a rock star at it, and this was a good move. Well, we just make the adjustments when we need to. But I don't think we need to necessarily hold you back, for some apprehension.
I do think we did have one other possible interview we need to follow up with before we kind of make a decision on anything.
Oh.
On that. Seth, do you have any other questions?
I do not.
No?
I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you,
Michelle. Next up, volunteers needed for the master plan committee.
Yeah, you have the grant, for this regional planning, and I need to put together a committee, a steering committee. And there's only one opening left, and I'm hoping to get somebody from the select board to sit in on this committee. It's not forever, it's just, I got scissors. Listen, I got the historical committee, I got finance committee, member from the finance committee, I've got, Kelly's agreed to sit on.
Since Kelly's going to be sitting here, I will be not sitting in.
So, how often are the meetings going to be held?
It's not one of these things going a year-long thing. Basically, what we're going to do, it's for the planning for the future, okay? It's a master plan. So,
When I first got on the planning board, was when they Berkshire Regional Planning.
yeah, I told you, I got it wrong. So anyways, we got the grant. I just thought it'd be good to have I have someone from the planning board, historical committee, I'd like to have somebody from the select board. And it'll be a total of 6 people. I'll sit in that myself. Just a vision for the future of Clarksburg. We had an old plan. I forgot what it was.
If I remember correctly, it was like 1972.
Yeah, so in essence, it's a roadmap where we'd like to see the town be in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. I think it's important to have that. If anything, it's goals, you get goals out there, it's something to shoot for. It's not forever being on that committee, it's just getting your input, which is important.
Much to my wife's chagrin, I'll volunteer if you need somebody.
So thank you.
Excellent, thank you, Colin. All right, next up is let everybody know of our party in town field this Friday night, July 11th, from 6 to 8 p.m. We have Fill in the Blanks playing, and what else we got?
6 to 8, that's it that night. I contemplated food trucks, but I want to see how everything goes, just sort of like a initial one, to see how everything goes. We have money, we have a grant for next year. We have a book regional thing for $5,000 for entertainment next year. I also, was brought to my attention is to have movies in the field. So, we might even, try that this year too, to see how everything goes. But moving forward, I want to have something in the summer months for the town. People can come out on a Friday night,
Yeah.
bring your chairs, relax, listen to good music. There's a lot of musicians out there that are interested in coming to play. Some for free, some want some money, but and then maybe next year we can encompass some food trucks. And I talked to a couple of car groups. They want to bring their cars up, display them. But I think it'll make it nice for the community. We've never had anything like that here, and I think the community's like I heard really good. It should be a good Friday night. It should be a good turnout. Also, what we'll do this year too, since we have to do the Charlie Brown Christmas tree, I'm going to put a letter out to give a donation for a nice Christmas tree for town hall this year. So we have a nice little kickoff for Christmas. We have some carolers and stuff like that we'll do. So hopefully everything goes that way. We're just trying to change the direction a little bit. That's get more people involved, and I think the locals would like that. To be honest with you.
Oh, absolutely.
That's awesome, Ron.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Community events are always, it's good to bring our community together.
Yeah, it is.
All right, next up, we're going to approve minutes, which we already took care of the minutes here. Now, this letter here is just something we need to.
Oh, yes. Thank you for bringing that up. We probably all read Berkshire Eagle in reference to the Golden Eagle Restaurant and the situation that they're going through for the last 10 years or more. I just wanted to put together a letter of support for the family and hand it off to John Barrett. Those guys have basically been run through the gamut. Their water is, as we know, was contaminated from the fire retardant that was sprayed back then. It's gotten into the wall. Their well up there, they can no longer use. John Morrison, his wife, last year spent over $23,000 of bottled water just to serve, to make drinks. You're doing this, you're doing that, and he's finally moving in a direction where he's got a hearing coming up. They had to close down the bar downstairs. He's basically gone to a buffet style for dinner and like a brunch type thing for breakfast and lunch. But we've been through the gamut financially. And I just thought it'd be nice, being our only restaurant in town, was to just do the select board myself to sign off on a letter of support, which was delivered to John Barrett, just to say, hey, we're behind you. We're looking, we're standing up for you guys.
No, absolutely.
So,
Excellent. Get this signed. Public comment? Comments? Alrighty, I'll adjourn tonight's select board meeting at 6:03.